We want every leader to lead. We want them to become leaders in their families, their churches, their neighborhoods, their cities, their counties, their states, nation, and leaders in the world. We ultimately believe that true leadership is losing the right to think about yourself.
This is the L3 Leadership Podcast, episode number 156. Hey everyone, welcome to a very special edition of the L3 Leadership Podcast. In this episode, we're actually going to jump right into the talk. Just for some context, though, this is a personal leadership lesson by me. Once a year, I gather some of our leaders in L3 Leadership, and we meet on top of Mount Washington, which is a mountain in Pittsburgh that overlooks the city. It's beautiful. And once a year, we get up there, and I just spend some time sharing about where L3 is, what our vision is, and where we're going in the future. And then we take some time to actually pray over our city and pray for its leaders as well. And so in this episode, I'm going to be sharing with you the exact same thing. I entitled the talk, Why I Believe Every Leader Needs L3 Leadership. You're going to hear me share our vision of L3 Leadership. You're going to hear me share how you can get involved with that vision. And then lastly, you're going to hear me share about our mission behind the mission. So we're going to jump right into this, but I hope that this talk will inspire you to be intentional about your leadership journey, and I hope it will inspire you to actually become a part of L3 Leadership and let us come alongside you and help you grow and develop. Enjoy.
Hey everyone, today I want to talk to you about why I believe every leader needs to be a part of L3 Leadership. I'm going to be sharing with you the vision we have for L3 Leadership, how you can get involved with that vision, and then I'm going to be talking to you about the mission behind our mission. To summarize what we do, I want to share a quote that I absolutely love by Tony Evans. He said this, he said, "If you want a better world composed of better nations, inhabited by better states, filled with better counties, made up of better cities, compromised by better neighborhoods, illuminated by better churches, populated by better families, then you'll have to start by becoming a better person." And we believe that we can change the world if we'll help develop people. If we'll come alongside people and help them develop to their maximum potential, then as a result, we'll have better families, churches, neighborhoods, cities, counties, states, nations, and ultimately the world will be a better place, all because we decided to develop and equip leaders. L3 Leadership specifically exists. We exist to build and develop a community of leaders that grow to their maximum potential, that develop the courage to pursue their dreams, and to become great leaders in their families, communities, cities, nations, and their world. That is why we exist. We're here to make leaders, and we're here to make leaders better. That's literally all we're about. And we want people that come to L3 Leadership to do three specific things. This is where we get our tagline. Our tagline and what L3 means. People always say, what's L3 for? It stands for learn, launch, lead. And here's what we want every leader to do. First, we want every leader to learn. We want them to grow and develop to their maximum potential. We want them to become self-aware of their strengths, their weaknesses, and discover all the gifts and passions that we believe God put in them. We want them to build a network that any executive in their city would be proud to have. We want them to learn to be men and women of character and learn how to make a difference. We want every leader to learn and grow to their maximum potential. The second thing we want every leader to do is we want every leader to launch. We want them to launch and achieve the dreams in their heart. And we want to come alongside them and give them the confidence, the resources, and the support system that they need to accomplish the vision that they put in their hearts. And lastly, we want every leader to lead. We want them to become leaders in their families, their churches, their neighborhoods, their cities, their counties, their states, nation, and leaders in the world. We ultimately believe that true leadership is losing the right to think about yourself. True leadership is losing the right to think about yourself. So once you get the corner office, once you get the house you want, once you get the paycheck that you want, why are you a leader? What difference are you going to make in the world? It's not just about you. And the reality is you are called to lead and make a difference in the lives who can't make a difference for themselves. That is what leadership's all about. So we want every leader to lead and give their life away to make the world a better place. And we believe when leaders go through that life cycle that we provide, the learn, launch, lead life cycle, that they'll maximize their potential, they'll pursue their dreams, and they will become great leaders in this world. So how are we going to do that? We're going to do that through community and through connection. That's what we're awesome at. We're going to do that through community and connection. Henry Cloud said this recently, and I would encourage you to go back in episode number 156 of the L3 Leadership Podcast. I had the honor and privilege of interviewing Dr. Henry Cloud. But he said this, he said, growth, change, success, exceeding our limits, and getting to be great in anything is never going to come from a self-help program. You're going to have to do it in relationship. You're going to need a coach, support, a mentor. You're going to need to start with a circle of a few people that can help you along the way. I love that. If we're going to grow to our maximum potential and do everything that's in our heart to do, we can't do it alone. We can't just do it from reading a book. We need to do it with people. And that's what we want to provide. So how do we do this? The first thing we provide is resources. We provide the L3 Leadership Podcast, which now there's over 155 episodes that you can listen to add value to your leadership journey, and that's absolutely free. We're in the middle of developing courses that will help you grow and develop as a leader, training that we can actually come into your organization and train the organization. I'm eventually going to write books on leadership, and we're going to have tons of resources, continue to add resources to help you in your leadership journey. The second thing we do at L3 Leadership to help you grow and develop is we have events. Every month we have a leadership breakfast where we bring in the best speakers that we can find to share their greatest leadership content. And we hope that it will be a place where leaders can come together and connect and network, and that things will happen through those connections. We believe you're one connection away from changing your destiny. And so we want you to show up at our events and connect with other people. And listen, if we're just based in Pittsburgh, but if you're listening to this and you're in a different city and you're saying, hey, I want L3 Leadership in my city, I would love to talk to you about starting L3 Leadership in your city. We can give you a template that'll help you build influence and develop leaders in your city. So we have our monthly leadership breakfast. We're also doing evening events a few times a year that are specifically focused on networking and just fun and doing life together. And then something we have vision for in the future that we hope to start next year is the L3 Leadership Conference, which will be a one-day leadership conference to add value to leaders. And I'll bring in the best leaders that I've ever had speak to share their best leadership content at that as well. It's going to be phenomenal. We also have mastermind groups. This is what I believe, at least at this point in my journey, it is the most valuable part of my growth journey right now. And the people I talk to who are in them would say the exact same thing. And before I talk to you about what they are, I just want to share a quote with you on why they're so important. Henry Cloud said this. He said, more than 80% of leaders I have surveyed said they have no one that they can be totally transparent with. He said, make sure you are in the other 20%. And my question to you is, do you have a group of people that you can do life with, that you can be transparent with and grow with, that can be honest with you and you can be honest with them? That's what mastermind groups provide. And we believe every leader needs to be in a mastermind group. Every leader. It gives you a community of people to do life with and grow with. It puts you on a personal growth plan, and it gives you accountabilities for your goals. And something we're doing in L3, we are developing a 3-year growth plan for mastermind groups that will coincide with our Learn, Launch, Lead life cycle. And so every year we'll have a specific growth plan just for you and your mastermind group. The third thing a mastermind group does is it adds accountability. We're doing goal journals where everyone writes down their top 10 goals and they bring their goal journals with them, and we hold each other accountable. People get accountability partners, and so every week they check in with each other to make sure that they're making progress on their goals. We're going to start doing meetings where we have execution meetings where we just take the entire hour and a half allotted for a mastermind group and we just work on something that we haven't been able to work on or haven't taken the time to work on. That's one of our goals that we want to focus on. We just haven't been able to. And we're going to spend that whole time doing nothing else but executing on that goal. Leader, listen to me. You need to be in a mastermind group. You need to be in a group of people that you can be vulnerable with, transparent with, and do life with. If you don't have that, I promise you, you are never going to reach your full potential. You need to be in a mastermind group. And so listen, if you want to be in a mastermind group that L3 Leadership has, or you want to start a mastermind group, we will equip you and train you to start your own mastermind group. You can just go online at l3leadership.org and click on the mastermind page, and you'll find all the information that you need there. But listen to me, don't let another week go by where you don't start pursuing being in a mastermind group. It'll be the most valuable part of your growth journey. The next thing we do, and we're going to start doing to implement our vision, is this. We're going to start providing training for organizations. We're going to start going into high schools and colleges and organizations and starting to develop leaders. We're developing our own L3 leadership curriculum that will train and equip leaders to be all that they can be. And so that's an opportunity for you. If you're listening to this and you'd like to have me or one of our leaders in L3 come into your organization and speak or talk to your leaders about forming mastermind groups or growing to their potential or any of those things, I'd love to talk to you. You can email me at dougsmith@l3leadership.org or just leave some comments in the show notes of this podcast, and I would love to talk to you. And then lastly, the last thing we're doing is what we're calling the World Changer Initiative. I've shared this often, but my wife, when she was growing up, her parents would consistently confess over her and tell her, Laura, you are a world changer. You're going to change the world. You're going to do world-changing things. And so my wife always had a vision of being able to change the world. And we want that vision to get in every leader that we influence. We want them to know they have the ability to change the world. And so our World Changer Initiative right now looks like this. The first thing we do is financial. You may or may not know this, but L3 gives 10% of every dollar that comes in, not just a profit. Every dollar that comes into L3 leadership goes to charity. 10%. And we hope that one day that'll be 90%. That would be awesome. We're creating a website that's full of opportunities to get involved with great causes in our community and in our world. So you'll be able to find local causes or global causes that you can be a part of, that you can volunteer with, that you can give to financially, that you can join their board. And we want you to take leadership roles. We want you to give your time, talent, and treasure to these organizations. We want to send leaders into nonprofit organizations to make a difference, and we want to have our members mentor and train the next generation. And so this all falls under phase 3 of L3 leadership, which is the lead phase. We want to give our lives away to change the world. It's our World Changer Initiative. So that's what we do, and that's where we're going in the future with L3 leadership. That's as far as we can see right now. But we need help, and we need help in 2 areas, and this is where I want to ask you to get involved. The first thing we need is members. We need members. Listen, if you want to take a next step and get involved, you can become a member of L3 Leadership for $25 a month. If you're listening to this, or you've been listening to the podcast for a while, or you've been coming to the breakfast, listen, you might say, Doug, man, you give all this stuff away for free. The podcast has added so much value to my life. The network you provided. Listen, and my ask in return is just, listen, none of this, it costs money to run a podcast. It costs money and time to do all the things that we're doing to add value to you in your leadership journey. If you just want to simply partner with us for no other reason, you don't care about all the other membership benefits, you just want to say, Doug, I want to partner with you, you can go to l3leadership.org/membership and become a member today for $25 a month, and it will help us continue to grow and develop leaders nationally. And if you want to become a member, when you become a member of L3 Leadership, you get access to our member-only website, which has extra content, resources, and a private online forum where you can interact with other leaders. You have the ability to join a mastermind group. You have to be a member if you join a mastermind group. And then lastly, as I mentioned, you have an opportunity to support L3 Leadership, which we are so grateful for. So thank you in advance for that. The second thing we're looking for is partners. We're looking for people who specifically feel led to support us at higher levels of funding. The amounts don't matter to us. We want you to be led and you decide on an amount. But if you'd like to support us at $100 a month or $1,000 a month or any amount that you feel like in the form of a sponsorship or your own private membership, let me know. You can contact me at DougSmith@l3leadership.org. We'd love to have you partner with us as we develop leaders. And then lastly, we just need leaders to help lead. We need leaders to help lead. We can't do this alone. Sometimes I think I can, but I've come to the realization that I cannot do it myself. So we're looking for leaders who will lead in L3 leadership. We've had people step up and we're so grateful for them. And we want to give you opportunities to lead. We need help with people leading events. We need help selling L3 and recruiting members. We need help with our website and branding and WordPress. And we need people to lead mastermind groups. These are all things that we need help with. And so listen, if you want to join up with what we're doing, email me at DougSmith@l3leadership.org or go on the website and take a next step. And lastly, the last thing I want to talk to you about is our mission behind the mission. It's our mission behind the mission. Our mission goes a little bit deeper than what I've currently shared. This past Saturday, I shared this exact message with a bunch of leaders on Mount Washington, which is a mountain in Pittsburgh that overlooks the city of Pittsburgh. It's beautiful. And we went up there and we prayed over the city and I cast vision. And just like I did to you on the podcast, I shared that with our leaders. And I said, guys, let me tell you why we're on Mount Washington. We're on Mount Washington because in the 1960s, there was a pastor that would come up here consistently and he would pray over Pittsburgh. And he was mentoring 3 men and he would bring the 3 men with him. One day they were praying and they felt the presence of God come on them. And God just spoke through this pastor over the city and he said, gentlemen, behold your city. One day this city will be more famous for God than it is for steel, talking about the city of Pittsburgh. Well, they all hit their knees under the presence of God, and they all felt called to that vision. But within 3 years, 3 out of the 4 people on that platform had passed away. And there was one guy left, his name was Reed Carpenter, and he felt called to that vision, but he had no clue how to make it come to pass. And so he said he just started developing leaders, started gathering leaders to see what God would do. And the strategy that God gave them was they would start developing leaders and follow them for 15 years at a time. And so they started developing leaders, and now they kept committing every 15 years. Now it's been over 50 years of developing leaders. And just so you know the landscape of Pittsburgh, if you were to look over at Pittsburgh, there are so many leaders that have executive positions, that have positions of influence in every sector of society. There's been nonprofits that have started out of that. There's been churches that have started out of that, all because this man decided to start developing leaders. Well, when I heard that story, I felt called to that for my generation. And I called Reed Carpenter, the founder of that vision or that strategy, and I said, Reed, I've had a passion for developing leaders my whole life, but when I heard about this vision for developing leaders who lead for Christ in all sectors of society, I felt so called to do that for my generation. What do I need to do? And he said, Doug, just start gathering people and see what the Holy Spirit does. Just start gathering people and see what the Holy Spirit does. And so 3 years ago, we met people on Mount Washington, and I just started gathering people to see what God would do, and started doing mastermind groups, started doing the breakfast, and here we are 3 years later, and we've seen all kind of incredible things happen. But really what our mission behind the mission is simply this, is we feel that if we'll develop leaders who lead for Christ in all sectors of society, that we'll not only make God famous in our city, but in our world. And that's our vision, that God would be famous in every city of every world by developing godly leaders in every sector of society, in education, in government, in religion, in family, in arts and media, in entertainment, in business and nonprofit, all of those areas. So listen to me, if you're listening to this, I don't care what area of life you're in, we need you to step up and lead in that area. If you're an education leader, if you're a government leader, we need you to step up. And more importantly, we need you to step up and lead for Christ. And so how are we doing this as L3 Leadership? Well, we're not a Christian organization. That's not in our vision statement or anything like that, but it is our mission behind the mission. I like to tell people that we do this, that we want to be secular enough to attract non-believers or those who have doubts about God, but evangelistic enough in who we are and what we do that we lead people to Christ. Let me say that one more time. We want to be secular enough to attract non-believers. Listen, I want to attract people who come and they want to grow and develop as leaders, period. If people never believe in God, but they become better leaders because they're around L3 Leadership, that's what I'm talking about. I want to develop a leadership program so good that the world cannot deny how awesome it is and that they want to be a part of it. However, I want to be evangelistic enough, and I want to bring in evangelistic people and who they are and what we do, that we lead people to Christ. That people say, hey, there's something different about the way these guys develop leaders. There's something different about Doug. There's something different about Laura. I want to learn about how they live. And at the right time, we believe God will use us and use the leaders that we've impacted to impact those people for Christ. And they'll grow up as godly leaders. We've seen it happening. We've seen it happen over the past 3 years. I've seen people get saved and give their hearts to Christ. In the past 3 years of L3 Leadership, we've had people get baptized. We've seen people strengthen their faith. For Laura and I, it's the most thrilling thing about what we do. Sure, we care that everyone grows and develops to their potential, but at the end of the day, when we see people start to go after God with their lives, then we really know that they'll develop to their maximum potential, and they'll live a life that's not about them, and they'll make a huge impact in this world. That's what we're all about. That's what we're all about. And so in closing, I will just share a verse that really just tells you how we're doing this biblically. In Jeremiah 29, 5-7, it says this. It says, build houses and settle down. Plant gardens and eat what they produce. Marry and have sons and daughters. Find wives for your sons and give your daughters in marriage so that they may have sons and daughters as well. Increase in number there, do not decrease. Also, seek the peace and prosperity of the city in which I've carried you into exile. Pray to the Lord for it, because if it prospers, you too will prosper. So what are we doing? We're here trying to grow into who God called us to be, and we believe we're examples to our city. We're trying our best to be godly examples to those we influence. We're committed to developing others to do the same. We're committed to increase our numbers. We're committed every day, no matter what arena of life we go to, whether what sector we go to seeking the peace and the prosperity of our city every single day. And we pray for our city because the Bible says that our city's welfare will determine our welfare. So that's our vision. That's what we're doing. As I mentioned, we're already seeing this happen. But that's our mission behind the mission. And listen, we realize that there's 6 billion people on the planet who may want nothing to do with what we're doing at L3 Leadership. But listen, if what I said resonates with you at all, and you feel called to be a part of what we're doing, I invite you to join us by taking a next step. What's the next step that you can take? Maybe your next step is subscribing to this podcast or our email list so you can stay up to date with what we're doing. Maybe your next step is to check out one of our events. Maybe your next step is to become a member and support us monthly. Maybe it's to become a partner and support us financially at a price you feel called to give at. And maybe your next step is to take a leadership position within L3. We need leaders to help take us to the next level. Listen, you can find all of these steps at l3leadership.org, or you can personally email me, Doug, at dougsmith@l3leadership.org. Thank you so much for allowing us to be a small part of your leadership journey. My wife, Laura, and I love you, and we believe in you, and we will talk to you next episode.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to why we believe every leader needs to be a part of L3 Leadership. I'm just going to leave you by encouraging you to say, if what we said resonated with you, take a next step with L3 Leadership. Go to our website, check out the different ways to get involved, email me, connect with us on social media. There's tons of ways to connect with us, but we'd love for you to be a part of what we're doing, and we would be honored to be a part of your leadership journey. We'll talk to you next episode.